Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
A guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin to lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to PSGL for round 11 here in F6. I'm Josh. That's Alex. And, yeah, I feel like I say that quite well, but we're here at China. We've finally figured out what track it's going to be, and we already know what track it's going to be for next week at Abu Dhabi. But I am so happy we're racing around China. It's literally one of my most favourite circuits ever of all time. For me, the normal feeling people have for Sepang is what I have for China. I love it, and I miss it so much. And I'm also so happy for Zhou
Guan Yu.
Zhou Guan Yu. Not Guan Yu Zhou. Not Guan Yu Guo.
No.
Zhou Guan Yu. I'm really, really happy for him to be able to actually race at his home Grand Prix. I feel like that's going to be absolutely fantastic. But I feel like we should start this one out here with Connor didn't buy us tickets to anything. We've walked.
Yeah, walking to China. It was a long walk.
This shirt was white when I started.
Yeah, I know. My shirt was white too, and now it's black. You can't see it on my camera, but I promise you it is black. I know.
Get a load of this. Get a load of this, man. Honestly, what's he
I know.
on? What's he on? But we're here for China. Historical part of my childhood. for the
Yeah,
prime
as you-
reason, it was Michael's last race win. And it,
91.
being a hero, it was beautiful to watch, but terribly sad to see. But before we dwell too much on the tracking question, we do have something to address here at PSGL, and it's the same for all the divisions tonight, that they won't be racing in their traditional cars. The traditional F1 cars were in multiplayer cars due to Codemasters doing an oopsie daisy. And
A rather large oopsie daisy. Yeah.
yeah, you could say it was a humongous whoopsie daisy, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. But cars aren't equal anymore, apparently.
Yes, so according to people that have been checking, the most recent update for F1 2023 has changed around aerodynamics of certain cars. Basically, when you run equal performance now, the car, so if you're in an AlphaTauri and someone's in a Red Bull, you'll have the AlphaTauri aero compared to the Red Bull aero, which, let's be honest, doesn't give it the exact fair equal performance that we try and promote here at PSGL. So we're having to race in multiplayer cars. So, first of all, forgive me if I get someone's team wrong that I say, because Josh knows everything, and I'll get it wrong. So if I get it wrong, I do apologise. Josh will correct me.
I
But
won't. Absolutely not. I'll just sit there laughing at you for a bit, mate. It'll be a good
That's
crack.
true.
But we do have to keep an eye on the championship here tonight, because it could very well be sealed if Napadovsky finally gets back to the form he was previously once on here at PSGL. Speaking of which, I'll tell you what. Let's pull him up for you. So here we go. The driver standings here. So we can see Napadovsky is 12 points ahead, which means, if I'm not mistaken, doing the quick maths here, if Sparky fails to finish 6th or higher, Napadovsky's going to be the F6 champion. And also, if Napadovsky wins, it'll be, what, 5 points? So that means he's going to have to finish at least 5th, and then there's only a point to play for, and Napadovsky's just going to have to outscore him by 1 point around Abu Dhabi. So, the ball is in Napadovsky's court here for this championship so far, with a 12-point gap. But you look further down the field, you've got the likes of Lundell and Sanya, which are practically equal. Vincent is kind of in a world of his own, but then you've got Danico, Daniel, Stephen Fruhart, all separated by a single point. It's going to get very intense coming to the dying stages, and I feel like we should show the constructors, just to make it fair, not because I took an absolutely beautiful screenshot on the game, but on the basis that Ferrari and Mercedes are both tied on points. Now, I'm not going to say which driver at Ferrari has scored 71 out of 72 points.
can I take a guess?
You absolutely can.
Is it Sanya?
It is our best friend Sanya. Adam with a 1 point scoring round in Suzuka. Other than that, did not start and did not finish.
Did he not score points in Austria?
No.
Where did he finish in Austria?
11th.
11th. No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it was started 1-2, but it turned into a Red Bull 1-2, like most Ferrari 1-2s
Yeah,
do.
okay, right. I'm putting the face cams back on. We're not looking at Ferrari being that far down the constructors, because it's not fair on me. I'm already struggling enough.
It's not in real life, to be fair. Ferrari,
Yeah.
give them credit where credit's due. They've done quite well in real life in the last 2 races.
Yeah, but here in F6, I'm going to have a word with Sanya and Adam, because I need them to at least get a 1-2 this season. Sanya's got a couple of wins. I know Adam can do it. He's shown he's quick, but he's just very inconsistent. Speaking of, we do have a couple of drivers missing today. So we've got some of our reserves in, and I believe we're going to have 17 drivers on the grid.
Should do.
And around China, I don't feel like that's a bad thing. I feel like a little less has never hurt anyone.
No, less is more.
Yeah, especially when it comes to that middle sector, which is absolutely abhorrent. But what I can do is show you the little pre-recorded video I did earlier in the Alfa Romeo. But please keep in mind, I was taking it slow and I was describing stuff. So the little bit after the long straight, after the hairpin, you didn't see that bit, okay? Promise me, guys. Promise me. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the penultimate track guide for season 34 here at PSGL. It's insane to think we're already basically there, but we are here. around China. So let's start off the lap with that beautiful pit straight, iconic to me. This has been one of my favourite tracks. Obviously, Schumacher's last win holds a big part to it. But also, this turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, which turns into a turn 4 sort of complex, is by far one of my favourite combos on any circuit. It's really, really fun when you get it right. But it's all about balancing the car and being able to feather the brake as well as the throttle as we come down to the hairpin, which is, you know, a brilliant overtaking opportunity. I wouldn't write home about it, but it's definitely a certain dive bomb going down in turn 6, and then you've got the very fast sweeping left and right handers of turn 7 and now on to turn 8. Very fast paced, one after the other. If you sacrifice one of them, you'll gain more out of the others for turn 8. And then turn 9 and turn 10, you want to try and get a very late double apex to those, as this used to be the old DRS straight, but they've removed it since then. It wasn't necessarily too great for overtaking, but it sets you up perfectly for this long sweeping right-hander for turn 13, where it's all about being able to get the traction down, being able to get the car exactly how you want it. Trying to duck and weave for the slipstream here as well. Obviously, you got the DRS, you'll have the ERS. Cars could be reaching up to 212 coming down into this braking zone, where you're looking for about the 100-meter board. Brake nice and early, get the turn in, touch the curb on the inside, and then you'll notice that little curb on the outside. Oh, that little curb on the outside could be a little flatter for these cars. As you go over it, it makes a little disturbance, same as it does there. But despite that lap being invalidated, it was a 140.7, so it'll be good fun to try and see if the other drivers are able to beat me by a whole 10 seconds. But you never know, and fingers crossed this qualifying session is going to be a banger, because I love this race. Well, we're back now, and I can see in chat we've got Sanga saying, Sanga by the way, not Sanya. I am so sorry, Sanya. I'll continue to call you Sanya.
Sanga.
Until the birds come sanging home.
Sanga,
That was
yes,
outrageous pun.
That was great. That's one of your best ones.
Yeah, what do you mean one of my best ones? How dare you? But we're on board here with Neeb, obviously a reserve driver. Not seen the name too much before, but an ET8 driver. So, you know, there's a lot of potential there. I was doing an event earlier in the week. I shall not mention the name, but ET8 did tremendously well. With a good points haul, with some Division 3 and Division 4 drivers running. So it'll be very interesting to see what sort of level Neeb is at, and really understand the depth of their team and roster. Because obviously, then we've got Sanga as well. Oscar King, another one. But a little note we're gonna put it on here is that some of the drivers might not be spatially aware enough to realise who their teammates are before the first pit window, and getting stuck behind them. It might not be a nice one.
Yeah, the reason being, of course, again, we are running F1 World Cars, or F1 Multiplayer Cars, as they're called, which basically means you have no idea who your second pit box is with your teammate. But Neve about to finish their first flying lap here.
On the phone,
China.
Apparently, this is Sparky.
Oh!
You lot got to stop changing your names. Sanga, thank you for that one, mate. Stop changing your names. We got confused enough when Napadovsky was something to do with a cat at Silverstone.
Yeah.
Right? We don't...
Neve.
Stop confusing us.
Sparky is Neeb.
Neeb is Sparky.
Neeb is Sparky.
And Dustin Vincent's quicker.
Is Dustin Vincent, yeah. 130.4956, actually, yeah.
I'll tell you what, we get to rate the liveries, and so far, Dustin, get the German flag out. That is absolutely beautiful. I like that.
Well, who does Dustin normally drive for? Red Bull.
Red Bull.
So, it's Sebastian Vettel themed.
No, it's Michael Schumacher themed.
But Michael Schumacher never drove for Red Bull.
No, but Schumacher's the greatest German of all time to do it.
It's true.
Fine,
what about Heinz-Harald Frentzen?
Lundell. The Swede.
In the Mercedes.
Yes. I mean, you say Mercedes.
It's a black livery car.
Is that Brad Pitt's car?
It might be. It might be whatever it is. The F1. What is that team called? I can't even remember.
I have no idea. I'm gonna have to watch a movie.
But yes,
PSGL watch along. We'll get that one sorted for you guys.
What I was going to say is, we were just talking about this circuit, and I think China is genuinely one of the most underrated circuits on the F1 calendar in terms of tracks. Obviously, it's designed by our good friend Helmut Tilke.
He's the bestie.
He's made some very good and some very rubbish tracks in his time, as a track designer. This was one of his better ones. He took inspiration from the Malaysia Turn 1 with the China Turn 1, but made it more snaky. Added a lot of long straights and sort of bendy turns. I'm going to use that as the term in Formula 1.
Bendy turns.
Bendy
Right.
turns, yes. But I personally, I agree with you. I think China is great. We've had some great races here in the past. Races that come to mind, 2006, Ferrari's last victory here at China.
Yep.
Obviously, Michael Schumacher's last victory in Formula 1 as well. 2012, where Nico Rosberg picked up Mercedes' first Grand Prix victory since they came back to the sport.
Which was?
19... Oh, wait. When did they leave, or when did they come back?
No. When was their last Grand Prix win before that?
Oh, sometime in the 50s.
54, I believe. Correct me if I'm
54.
wrong, chat, but I believe it was 54.
And that day, if you don't remember, that day started with a Mercedes 1-2 with Michael Schumacher and Nico Rosberg on the front row.
I do. I fondly remember it.
Yeah, and Michael retired from the race, prompting Martin Brundle to say, "I've never been this disappointed since Shrek 2." So, yeah, that's a commentary call and a half. If only if I could be such as a good commentator as Martin Brundle.
I'll tell you what. While we see Sanger drifting through that illustrious Turn 4
in a very nice Ferrari livery, I must say. I think Ferrari should run that in real life.
Yeah, I don't. I feel like it needs a big Marlboro sticker on it, but that's just my preferences because, my word, you cannot beat the old school Ferrari cars. Or I'll tell you one even better, the APIG. The good old...
The APIG?
Yeah, the sponsor. The yellow sponsor. Just whack that sticker everywhere on any car. Or I'll tell you what, let's throw it in the air. Get a Castrol livery. I'd love you forever. But we see Sanger here. Now, Sanger's not had a great run of qualifying form as of late, but China's one of these circuits where we may or may not have had a tweet from one of our F1 drivers, Marcel Keifer. You might know him.
Isn't it Kiefer?
You can call him whatever. I've always called him Keifer.
Okay.
But he was mentioning about how it feels to drive on these tracks. Saying that it's very reminiscent of F1 2019, and he was overly satisfied, let's say, with his results and his lap times on the practice. So we're going to really see a little change up due to the way the tracks are, as John Cena, see no more apparently. Dare I say this was Adam in the exact same livery?
It's Adam. It has to be Adam. Surely.
I hope it's Adam. Adam deserves a good qualifying.
And Napadowski in third, currently, obviously, as we mentioned, can win the world title today. Just needs to outscore Sparky, who is currently in fifth. Obviously,
we're getting there, guys. We're getting there.
Yeah, we will get there eventually, everyone. Not only have you guys decided to change your names, but also the F1 World Cars have thrown us off. So, thanks for making our jobs even more difficult than they have to be normally. But this is already looking like a great qualifying. Very close in terms of the top three at the moment, but actually very close between everyone. But this is a very low grip circuit. I don't know if you mentioned it in your track guide.
That's what I was mentioning. What Marcel was tweeting about. It feels like one of the old school games where you can't get any grip anywhere, and he was loving it. But I don't feel like some of these drivers, especially the ones towards the top of the timing sheets normally, are going to feel too happy about it.
I don't like it.
Obviously, Seb isn't here, and we know Seb's been absolutely on demon pace as of late. I remember Imola, absolutely ridiculous. But Seb couldn't make it today due to some substantious reasons. But he's not here. Could it potentially be because of a grip? Maybe. But
maybe.
Only time will tell, because I know I wouldn't be too happy if I got used to a car sticking like dog poo on a carpet, and all of a sudden it felt like a jelly baby on a glass plate.
Are you taking some Mark Goldbridge quotes there, are you? He likes those sort of random things. Do you even know who Mark Goldbridge is? I don't know if I even know why.
Yeah, he's the Man United weirdo, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the guy that says random things on Man United.
Yeah, can't wait for him to say glasses out. But that's beside the point. We're here for F1. Right.
We get distracted very easily. You may have noticed this by our F6 streams.
Yes. I mean, if you haven't by this point.
Yeah, why are you still here? Let's be honest. You would have left by now. But anyway, yeah, back to F1. So Sparky currently going for another lap. Needs to basically out-qualify Napadovsky here because Mexico did not go well for them.
No, it certainly didn't. And I'll tell you what.
Almost did a Maldonado.
Yeah, that was quite scary.
Yeah.
But Lundell will be coming through a very similar part of the track very soon. He's also on a fast lap. And he's perhaps channeling his inner Red Bull with the livery. But as you mentioned, the grip on the circuit, it's very, very, very wayward, and it'll chuck anyone and everyone about. As I believe Dustin Vincent's going to come through the same sector here in a beautiful German car. Let's have a look. He's got that hooked. He's got that nailed. He might not be... Oh, okay. I'll say less.
It feels very 2021, this circuit, to be honest with you. I've driven it quite a few times. I like it. I like the track itself. But again, it's so low grip. And considering how grippy these cars have been, did Dustin put it round? No, he didn't. I thought he had. No. I didn't see. I saw a yellow flag and I thought Dustin had spun it. But yeah, but considering how grippy these cars have been this year, in basically every track we've gone to, it's oh my goodness me. Sorry, I just saw the gaps. You're seeing them on screen right now. Lundell goes even faster, 130.3, but a tenth separate the top 3, 2/10 separate the top 9.
It's very, very close. As we've got Alvaro Fernandez here as well, looking out, as I mentioned, for that 100-meter breakboard, being able to slam on the brakes and get the car turned in. And there's some beautiful rims there. I like that.
Yes, it looks very nice. I do love seeing creative liveries, of course. We'd love to see the normal F1 cars, but if we have to use these, then we have to. Alvaro Fernandez across the line, goes fastest, finds 2/10 on the next lap, 130.1, a tenth quicker, almost 2/10 quicker than Lundell. Alvaro Fernandez looking very good on this circuit.
He's looking very, very pacey indeed, but Napadovsky is a temp up in that second sector. The championship leader, as it stands, the one who could potentially seal the championship here today, is going to come across the line.
Only second.
Only second, but it's still enough so far to be able to really mount the pressure on him. I feel like that's the sort of role he's going to have to try and take here. Try and build up the pressure and force other drivers into a mistake, especially Sparky and Dustin, because we know those two like to work together. And so far, Oscar King's just vibing in the middle of it. And
yes.
It's not really a place I would like to be, but that's an interesting liveried car, actually.
Yeah, with his brown-coloured car. I
would say brass. I would say brass.
Well, yes. If you were on a Top Gear episode, it's never brown. It's always something else. It's mushroom-coloured, actually. But
what mushrooms have you seen, mate?
Well, Oscar King, probably trying to go for that McLaren livery, of course. A McLaren driver, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. You got it right for once. So
I got it right. Thank God for that. I don't look like a complete idiot for once. But yeah, no, I really hope next year in real life we get China back on the calendar properly. Obviously, it was meant to be on this year's calendar. It's cancelled again. And I think it's been confirmed on the calendar for this season, but again, it could be cancelled. We never know. There is apparently still stuff going on in China with regards to COVID and big events. So hopefully we'll get it back on the calendar and we'll get some good racing. Sanga slides it through the final heavy braking zone. I love that corner. Great corner for overtaking. And he's decided to take the Lewis Hamilton line through the pit lane. Of course, they removed the gravel trap on the right-hand side, so you can't get caught in it anymore.
So you can't lose a title there.
Yeah, can't lose a 2007 title there. I wonder who would have done that, eh?
Not a Ferrari driver, I can tell you that much. We quite enjoyed the gravel trap there, to be honest. But as you can see, there with just that little box, one of the drivers was coming out there to try and get back on the circuit. Who was that? It was El Puma. So we've got Sanga and El Puma sharing a pit box. Now, these two have a bit of a history. Who doesn't El Puma have history of, to be honest, here in F6? Ding-dong battles throughout the grid. Yeah. Sometimes a little bit too much ding and sometimes a little bit too much dong, but he got there eventually, and he's still here. Miraculously, some might say. But nevertheless, he is still a very pacey driver on his day.
Yeah, a little bit too much dong. I don't think you want to say that again. But yeah, El Puma, yeah, he can be he's a decisive driver, let's say. In terms of the way he battles and the way he overtakes. Loving the livery, though. Very minimalistic, but it just has enough flair on it, I'd say, for Mr. Diego El Puma. But yeah, not long left in this qualifying session now. Are you surprised to see Alvaro Fernandez so high up? Of course, he
No.
drives for Alfa Romeo, but we haven't seen him up on the front three this season. He's been there or thereabouts in terms of midfield, but yeah, very impressive to see him on pole at the moment.
No, he's always had a very, very good qualifying form. He's always been there or thereabouts in the top 6, but it's just the racecraft which slowly whittles him down throughout the race. Maybe it's, endurance. You never know with these drivers, but I'll tell you something, his qualifying form as of late has been really good, so it's very impressive to see him. Not only just taking the lead in a qualifying session, being able to dictate what's going on behind him, but also by such a margin. Because we're looking at almost 2 temps to the likes of Napadovsky, Lundell, Vincent, King, and Sparky.
Which, again, may not sound like a margin to some people that haven't watched, say, PSGL or competitive leagues before, but I can tell you that is a huge time to make up, because you can make up a lot of time on this circuit. It's a lot of straights, a lot of corners, but again, something else we haven't mentioned about China, weather can play a factor.
Yes.
And we've had a lot of wet races here in the past. 2006 again started wet and went dry. 2016, if I remember, was also wet. At least started wet, that's for sure. And tyres will play a massive part as well in today's race. The race that comes to my mind the most for that is 2018, where Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen both pitted under a towards the end safety car and basically carved their way through the field, or Daniel did anyway. Max carved his way through Sebastian Vettel's side pod. But yeah, this will be a very interesting race.
It will be, but we can't get too dwelled onto the race yet, because we've still got these last runs in qualifying
Of course.
to do. With all the drivers coming out, it shows the track improvement. Obviously, there's very little grip on this circuit due to it not being resurfaced as recently as others. So it's very, very slippery, it's very old, and it's a little greasy, so it's going to be very difficult for the drivers to really get those first initial runs and get the race start sorted. So it wouldn't surprise me if we start seeing soft compound tyres for the race start, just so we can get used to it a little bit, avoiding the hards as much as possible. But with that, it comes that the track improvement's going to be so major, as we can see the rear wing open. There's no flexi wings on El Puma's car, so he's absolutely sound so far. And he's going to be trying to bring it through, riding over that curb, not touching the grass like yours truly, and coming into that final corner with the aggressive curb on the right-hand side, which will pull you onto it if you're not careful. And he's got to come across the line, but only a slight nudge up.
Yeah.
Doesn't even get a place.
No, it doesn't get a place. Shows how competitive the grid is. There is a orange car coming towards the line. I believe that's Oscar
helpful.
King.
It's not Oscar King, it's Cryx. And Cryx goes 5th. Beautiful.
Goes 6th fastest. And we have Yannick coming to the line. 8 tenths down on pole right now, but want to improve quite a lot. Got a yellow flag.
Oh!
Yannick has done an Alex Albon, and he's put it towards the wall. Actually, no, I think that was a Antonio Giovinazzi. He did that before. Crossing the line goes... Who was it? That was Neeb, I think. It was Neeb. Also known
Sparky.
as Sparky. Goes 3rd. Nowicki goes 2nd. Lundell goes on to pole position, so the pressure back on Alvaro Fernandez. Napadovsky only 4th, but ahead, crucially, of his championship rival, but he's still yet to set a proper competitive lap time. Fernandez, 2nd fastest, couldn't beat for pole. Here comes Napadovsky, he's 3rd, and 3rd will do for him because it outqualifies his main championship rival, who's down in 6th place. Dustin Vincent doesn't finish his lap time, only 8th. Someone else that jumped up there, Sanger, up into 4th place for Ferrari. And obviously Adam not going to get a lap time completed because he's invalidated. So our man on pole position, Lundell, back on pole. Alvaro Fernandez joins him on the front row, and Napadovsky in 3rd with Sanger in behind.
Now that's a front row with very little to lose, but it's a second row with an awful lot to lose. We mentioned about this Mercedes-Ferrari battle, and Sanger leading the way for Ferrari, but Lundell's been leading away from Mercedes. It's very hard to tell with these drivers. So although the Constructors doesn't mean too much here at PSGL, the Drivers' Championship certainly does. So all eyes will be on Napadovsky and how he's going to be able to take the race start. But, do you know how I would take the race start?
Well, I would take the race start personally, Josh, sitting in a nice, comfortable GT Omega gaming chair.
And we're back after that qualifying session.
Wow.
Apart from Lundell, you've basically got the top 8 covered by 2/10 of a second there. That's outrageous.
Well,
and it's the level of quality we've just grown to know here in F6.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got F5, F4, F3, whatever, right? Doesn't matter. They might be a little bit quicker, but they're not as competitive because this championship so far has been nail-biting from start to finish. And the reason why Alex is making a moaning sound in your ear isn't because he's just saw that Max Verstappen's one race win off of he's one race leading a lap away from matching out in Senna.
Oh, is he? I didn't know that.
He is. But
it's a bit cloudy.
It's a little cloudy.
No rain,
And
but it's cloudy.
That won't help with the tyre temps at all.
No, it's not going to. If I was, obviously, I would ignore them anyway. Anyone who uses those hard tyres is going to be basically a mission to get them to the end of the race because, goodness me, it's going to be tricky to get those anywhere in the temperature region. There's also a chance that it could just start raining. Again, we've talked about this, how difficult China can be, and rain can just appear at any moment. So anything's about to change here, and hopefully we'll get underway in just a few seconds. You can see all the pit lane garages there, spare front wings. We might be needing them as well.
It's the fact that you just can't tell who's next to who.
No,
and
it's impossible.
Unless you've really come out the pit box and automatically turned your camera around and you can recognise the livery instantaneously, you won't know. The 2 drivers with matching liveries, Sanya and Adam. And Adam.
But we're heading for 5 lights here for the penultimate round of PSGL. It's lights out and away we go here at China. And it's a good start from Lundell as they're all on the hard tyre. And we get into turn 1, but Albert Fernandez has got a brilliant launch off the line and he takes the lead of the Chinese Grand Prix. But we got battles going all through the field. Napadowski is battling with Sanger for P3 and P4 respectively as they try and make their way through the pack, trying to find some tyre temp in these hard tyres as we head towards the heavy braking zone. Are they going to make the move? There's up the inside. Goes Nowicki. He's trying to get past. And there's a spin in the background. Is that Oscar King dropping down the field? It is. Oscar King's dropping down. Also, there's someone else dropping down. Is one of our championship contenders. It's Sparky, who's down to 15th. He's come a cropper on that opening lap. And right now, it's all to play for Napadowski. He is in championship winning contention.
He's in more than championship winning contention. He is sealing the championship. If Sparky cannot make his way back through the field, I really, really hope for Sparky's sake he's able to channel his inner Sebastian Vettel and make a climb back through this pack to keep the championship alive. But you can see him coming down off his main straight. Look at it. It's just a slipstream fest, and I feel like that's what this race is going to be. It won't be a race about right pace. It'll be about IQ and just traditional strategy planning and making sure you're always in a DRS straight.
Well, the fact that people have started on hard tyres, I would assume that means rain is not on its way, because I would have started on a set of mediums if they knew rain was coming, because then you can just run until the rain. But Lundell didn't get the best launch off the start. I thought he got a better launch, but the second phase went to Fernandez, and now he leads the Chinese Grand Prix. 28 laps of the Chinese Grand Prix, already 2 laps completed. We've already had plenty of incidents on that opening lap. Puma has gone up to P6 here at the start of the race. Sanger, of course, leading ahead of Napadowski. Napadowski won't care too much about that. Once again, has Sparky lost another position? They're down to 15th, or he's battling with Yannick to try and move himself in front. I think he's ahead of Yannick now, or he's battling with him. That is for P14 and 15. But he needs a lot more than that, Sparky, to gain more positions. We're still riding with Puma at the moment as he looks to move himself further up the pack.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, we're looking at it here from this tight, twisty section. The DRS is such a great strength around this circuit. But on the con, that horrible second sector, while you're in a little bit of dirty air of the car in front, it's outright painful, as I believe Cerro has a spin towards the back. Thankfully, no safety cars come out for it. That would really throw a little curveball in the mix, wouldn't it, if we end up having a safety car? But it's just about waiting and finding your opportunity and finding your time. And a driver who seems to be doing that at the minute is Daniel, as he ends up getting the pass done on Adam, and Adam seems to be falling back through the field like a rock right now, doesn't he? It's not the first time we saw it this season. Will it be the
Yeah,
last? Potentially.
No, Adam really struggling at the moment. Also, just want to let you know, Sparky is just sneaking into DRS range of the car in front. Needs to stay within DRS pretty much until the window opens. But look how close everyone is here. It's absolutely insane. Lundell really pressurizing Fernandez for P1 at the moment. Getting past in those DRS zones is going to be crucial for Lundell, the Mercedes driver, as he looks to pick up what will be, I believe, his first Grand Prix victory of the year, because, of course, let's not forget what happened at the end of Mexico with all those crashes.
Yeah, I know, it was a bit of a travesty. Fingers crossed we don't have anything like that today. But Sanger is sliding that not Ferrari about all over the place. It's looking like a bit of a dog to handle at the minute, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. I saw him sliding out at turn 4, and I saw him sliding out at turn 6 as well. So fingers crossed that car's going to mature slightly and settle itself down throughout the course of a race with a lighter fuel load. But at the minute, he's still keeping within contention. It just looks very, very difficult to drive out there.
Yeah, I think they're all struggling to find some tyre temp on these hard tyres. Clearly, they believe the hards are the best race tyre. Obviously, that's their opinion. I personally wouldn't choose it. Something else we've got to mention is ERS, not very easy to get back around this circuit. But here we go. Surely this is Lundell's opportunity to take the lead of the Chinese Grand Prix. A little use of ERS, but straight past with DRS. And Lundell takes the lead of the Chinese Grand Prix. Does make a little error on exit, but not going to cost him a position at the moment. Just want to give you an update on Sparky not finding any positions at the moment. Still running in P14, as you said, Josh. Maybe taking their time, but time is nothing that Sparky doesn't have. But Tom makes a little mistake on the exit of the final corner, and Sparky's going to have to go all the way around the outside.
Ooh.
Tom pulls in. Great move from Sparky. Really needs to make a move on, though, because obviously the car in front is dropping out of DRS range. That is something around a circuit which Slipstream is so powerful you can't afford to do.
Yeah, Oski driving the Audi coloured livery. I'm sure he's very excited to see a potential takeover happen in the future with that Sauber outfit. But right now, he's got to stop worrying about the future and start worrying about the present. Because if he drops out of DRS, not only is he jeopardising a potential championship battle with Sparky, but he's jeopardising his own race. He's on the medium tyres. He should be making leaps and bounds on these drivers through this sector and being able to really capitalise on the exit coming through that horrible long right-hander. And even the fast-paced left-hander right at the end of a lap, he should be really, really trying to push those tyres all the way through and carry as much speed into it as possible. As Yannick's gone round, perhaps could have been a bit of contact earlier with that battle, but he's got himself back going again. It doesn't look too bad.
Well, here comes Sanger. Sanger wants another position. Aaron Fernandez has done a good job holding on to Lundell over the course of this lap. And the Wiki looks to go for a move, and great defensive move there from Napadowski. But up the inside, goes Sanger, and he can't make the move stick. In the background, though, Nowicki and El Puma battling for position as well. At the moment, once again, though, no positions gained for Sparky, staying where he is. You can see, to be fair, Sparky not got that far to go between himself and his championship rival, but the issue is there's quite a lot of cars between them.
Quite a lot of cars, and a lot of cars which are boosting at one another with the use of the DRS. As Yannick's coming into the pits, perhaps he's lost a front wing, or perhaps it might be to retire. We'll find out in due course, but at the minute, El Puma and Sanger just seem to be on rails. They seem to be really trying to pressure the car in front to make a mistake, but around a circuit like China, where the track's nice and wide, and it's very, very adaptable, and it's a little fast-paced, there's very little brake usage around here. If I'm correct, I believe it's under 20%. You're on it with full brakes, and majority of that's for the hairpins.
Oh, up the inside. Does that go Napadowski? He's gone up the inside of Sanger. He looked like it, but it's always tricky to get past in that corner. Sorry for interrupting you, Josh, there. I just thought we should mention that.
No worries. It's such a difficult track, as you mentioned, to recapture your ERS and reharvest it throughout the course of a lap. So it'll be very, very sacrificial to burn up most of your ERS now on such an early stage of a race, as we're starting to see a little bit of spread between the field, as Napadowski realises that Sanger's probably holding back on his ERS, so he had to make a move if he wants to just really start capitalising it.
But the switchback.
Battles like this will not save you any time, and it'll just put Napadowski closer to Sparky's clutch here for the championship. As Sanya pulls off what might just be
might be the move of the race.
Yeah,
That's around the outside of the final corner.
Yeah.
It's tricky to think about that, but yeah. Also, we have Adam made a mistake in the background. Once again, now Podolski going for the move up the inside. They go wheel to wheel into the little snake
Outside
of turns 1, 2, and
turns
3.
to the inside for turn 4, turn 5, and he's going to get the little squeeze there as well, just to make sure Napadovski won't get a better exit. Very, very beautiful driving. Very great defending as well there from Sanger.
And up the inside goes Napadovski. He does not care about the defence. He wants the move done. Carry on, please.
Bless you. You wouldn't have thought he was fighting for a championship the way he's trying for these moves. Very audacious. Very dare I say, risky? You know, perhaps a little short-tempered as well. But Napadovski seems to be holding his own here right in the back. Sanger is sliding everywhere, though. That's the reason why Napadovski's getting
DRS.
these opportunities all the way around. And now he does have DRS, but critically to this championship battle as well.
Who's round? Someone's round in the background. Who is it?
Daniel.
It's Daniel and Vincent, and it's allowed a few people to move up places, including Sparky, who's now into P10, scoring that crucial championship point. And then we're going to make it 3 wide here at China. This cannot end well at all. But there goes Napadovski. You can see the light flash in the back, which means he's got under 10% battery left. He's used so much to get past Sanger, and he's going to lose it on the exit because he doesn't have the slipstream, but he just holds on. And the wiki into 3rd, Napadovski down to 4th.
I really thought Sanger was going to try and pop it around the outside there again.
Tries it again.
I had a heart in my mouth, to be honest with you. But the gaps are building. We can see Danico's also fell out of DRS range, as well as Sparky and his teammate Dustin as well. It's unfortunate, isn't it, that these gaps are starting to really expand out. But Napadovski's going to have to really, really start preying on some form of safety car, or maybe, you know, a VSC to try and rebuild some of that battery, because otherwise he might be really struggling. Oh my word, Sanya!
I think Napadovski's got away with it. Sanger, on the other hand, has definitely not. He's dropping down the order. Just a little snatch of the brakes there, locked up their front tyres, and gone straight into the back of Napadovski. We obviously hope that Napadovski hasn't got any rear wing damage. But look at that. Sparky up to P6 from that mistake.
He's back, isn't he? He's getting there.
You know, sometimes in this sport, you just need that little stroke of luck, that little stroke of anything. And sometimes in motorsport, it happens. And I think it might be happening for Sparky now. We've seen it so many times before. He needs to get into that DRS range of Crikes, and he has already pulled it off. He's just there or thereabouts. And he's almost pulled out of DRS range of the car behind as well. Sparky, don't count him out of this just yet. He's still very much in a hunt to get in front of Napadovski.
Look at his battery. It's almost as bad as Napadovski, sitting at the 25%.
I think Napadovski's is worse.
That's rough. That is really, really rough. Speaking of as well, I didn't realise Crikes decided to swap to a McLaren. Instead of Aston Martin.
He's obviously an Aston Martin driver in real life. A couple of cars going a bit wide there in the background. Was that Sanger we just saw down to pits? No, it's Danico. I wonder if Sanger's got a bit of a broken front wing, but he's carried on. So I imagine he might have got away with that one.
I'll tell you what, there's only one way to find out. I was having a little look, but that front wing looks pretty intact to me.
Yeah, looks pretty intact.
Something else which looks a little less intact as we see him drifting through there. I was mentioned his rears didn't look stable. But Lundell's win so far, the potential for him to go off and win this race doesn't look very intact. Alvaro Fernandez is kept within 5 tenths for the entire time, struggling through overheating tyres, being stuck behind the driver, getting dirty air wafted as well.
Could be underheating tyres because of how cold it is, I imagine, by the looks of the track. It looks very, very cold out there. China's not a particularly warm country. It can be in certain aspects of the month, but obviously when we turn up, this is now, obviously, what is it, September now we're in? It's not that warm out there at the moment. Me acting like I know what Chinese weather is in real life, but I think it's not that warm there right now.
Brother. Less said about the Chinese weather, more about it on track. But because it's overcast, the tyres will be slightly cooler, as you mentioned, but I still believe that the amount of dirty air that gets pushed off these cars, the amount of hot air as well, will cause the tyres just to warm up a little bit too quick, especially when you're following for 8 consecutive laps within half a tenth. As behind the championship protagonist at the minute, we seem to have a little battle there with Tom24.
Yeah, Tom 24 trying to move himself up through the grid. Of course, he's moved up the grid due to incidents, but he's also made places as well. Aggressive defense there, as looks like to go 3 wide into the first corner, and Tom may have made one. Oh, he's lost a bit of the rear end. He might have got a little tap for his troubles as well. It's a 3-way battle between Puma, Tom, and I can never pronounce that name. Oski. For P7, great battling. Puma 10th behind. Surely Puma's gonna have a little dive up the inside of Tom to make the move stick. At least go around the outside. No, he stays behind him. So it's a new El Puma here in PSGL. Not going for those moves that in previous races might have ended a race for him. I would just like to mention something. Napadowski, after the incident, hasn't really gained any time on the car in front. He stayed in P4. I wonder, could he be nursing some rear wing damage?
Potentially, but I suppose we're going to have to wait until the end of the race to really find that one out, as we can't really see it. But Kryzix, he's more than happy that Napadowski seems to not have too much pace, because he looks like he's in the hunt here to try and get a little chance done. But notice who's in the DRS behind as well.
Kryx. Yep, Kryx, and of course Sparky within the DRS range, just in the DRS range. But you can see that battery light is flashing. Kryx has made a move though up the inside of Napadowski. And Napadowski may have got the switch back because it was so late on the brakes from Kryx, but Napadowski decides not to fight it. He didn't seem like he fighted that one because he wants the DRS down the next straight. Will he have an opportunity to get back into turn 1? And is he closing? He's closing. He's closing. He's not closing enough though. Unless he tries one up the inside. No, he sticks behind him. That's going to open the door for Sparky because now the man in front of him is his championship rival.
Yeah, and if Kryx just holds up Napadowski in any form, I'm fairly confident Sparky wouldn't mind it too much, but Napadowski must be absolutely raging inside there, knowing that if he tried to stick it around the outside at that final corner, it wouldn't have gone too well, as we do have the first retirement, and it's Sparky's teammate Dustin. Very unfortunate there for the original Red Bull driver, let's say.
Yeah.
Compared to the new beautiful coloured livery I got really, really attached to in a very short space of time, as I believe Sanger and Tom24, I believe there was an overtake going around the S's there that we may have just caught a glimpse of in the background.
That's a place you don't really want to overtake, but Sanya is kind of in a bad position because of what has happened in this race. He will take, I imagine, full responsibility for what did happen. Adam also retiring from the race, not had a great race for him once again. But here is Napadowski now, right behind the back of Kryx, and Napadowski needs to try and make this move now because look in the background, there is Sparky, and I'm sure Kryx will want to try and fight this one back as much as he possibly can. Adam getting a nice double slipstream, and Sparky getting a nice double slipstream behind the back of Kryx, and now Napadowski retakes 4th place, but now that has all of this battle has brought Sparky into contention, and he's now within this train.
Absolutely, and if Kryx just decided to deploy a little bit of battery here as well, he could be right on the back, pushing Napadowski through, perhaps eyeing up a move towards the hairpin if he's able to get a good enough exit. So it really comes down to this key battle here, from 4th to 6th. But still out front, we've got Lundell and Fernandez fighting it out. Nowicki's in a bit of a world of his own, and all this fighting's really helping those three really try and push themselves off and get the podium positions solidified. But we'll obviously have to wait until these hard tyres come off and a set of medium or softs go on in order to really get an idea for who's going to have the pace on the soft compounded tyre. Because at the minute, it looks like Lundell and Fernandez seem to have it in the bag, but everything can change with a new set of tyres. I mean, I know what you're like on the hard tyres compared to the rest of the other tyres. I could beat you on hard tyres, mate. Yeah,
my hard tyres are not that great. My hard tyre pace, but that's a conversation for a different day. Anyways, of course, at the moment, Sparky still battling with Kryx. Kryx still battling with Napadowski. Napadowski slowly closing the gap to Nowicki for that 3rd place. What Sparky needs to do now is either he can do one of two things: either stick behind Kryx and hope that Kryx can put him along with Napadowski, or he needs to clear him and get on with his own race. It depends how much pace Kryx really does have in that car this afternoon to stick with our main championship leader.
I guess only time will tell, but at the minute he seems to be very happy sitting behind and trying to build up a bit of that battery, but it doesn't look like it's going to go too well for him. As I do believe El Puma's going for a very cheeky move around the outside of Oski there. He can't quite pull it off, and he's literally pushing Oski down the main finish line. Like, come on.
at the main finish line. Yeah, he's trying to make the move, but now he's going to go around the outside of turn 1. This will be a brave, bold move for El Puma. Can he pull it off? And he has. He's up into P7, and Oski loses out of position.
Those mediums just look shot, don't they?
Yeah, they
He had
really
to brake
do.
so much earlier, and it looks like he's got absolutely no grip coming out the corners as well. I mean, look at how much Sanga's closing up on him here. Oh, Sanga's, he gets too close to the rear there, doesn't he? It puts me on edge every single time. But I do believe we've got Oscar who's decided to hop in for a fresh set of hard tyres.
Yeah, that will be, I imagine, to the end of the race. I don't know what tyre he started on. I believe he started on the mediums, if I'm not mistaken. We have Tom, who's round in the middle sector of the track. He should get back underway shortly, which shouldn't cause any safety cars, or virtual safety cars, for that matter. But yeah, Sanga trying to make up for lost time. Of course, he has made a mistake during this race. If you missed it earlier on, he went straight into the back of Napadowski. Luckily for Napadowski's sake, didn't cause any lasting effect as it stands, because he's now in DRS range of Nowicki. But we're watching Sanga at the moment. Sanga, DRS, going to pull to the right-hand side as late as he possibly can to keep that slipstream effect. And a little bit of ERS usage there from Oski. Surely Oski doesn't want to fight this one too hard because he's on those medium tyres. Little lock-up there from Sanya, but that's a strategic lock-up, so he can get in front of his McLaren, of the McLaren man, of Oski. Is he a McLaren driver? He's not. I think he's a Williams driver.
It's all worth it. And we've had the strategical swap at the front between Lundell and Fernandez. And if we compare the battery usage of these guys compared to the rest of the pack, these guys have been saving. They've just been using the DRS and pulling each other along. Happy as happy could be. Trying just to build a little buffer to make sure they can't get undercut by the cars behind and give them enough time to really react. But with Nowicki now falling into the grasp of Napadowski, Kryx and Sparky, it could all be blown open very, very shortly if these guys decide to fight anything like they was fighting before.
Yeah, this could really change up the fact we've got quite a few different packs battling here. We've got the front pack, we've got the podium pack, we've got the mid pack, and we've got a backpack fight as well. So that's from P11 down. We have a fight. We've got basically Daniel's on his own in the middle of the field, and obviously we got Napadowski, Nowicki, Kryx, and Sparky battling for the final podium spot. We got our two leaders battling, and we've also got a battle in the midfield with Puma, Sanya, and Oski. So every time we look around, we've got a fight. Obviously, we can't keep an eye on every fight, so if we miss your favourite driver, we do apologise, but we try and keep you up to date with the best battles on track. Sanya going for a move on El Puma by the looks of it in the background, and breezes past the man for P8, and he's now into P7. El Puma looking to get the switch back there, but didn't get the purchase out of the corner that he needed. Napadowski, on the other hand, is moving closer for a move as Alvaro Fernandez falls down into second, but that's again a strategic move. I thought Lundell absolutely sent the back of his car there into the first corner, but keeps it going in the right direction. And Napadowski right now on the gearbox of Nowicki for the final podium spot.
Now, if you're Nowicki, you know the two of the three drivers behind you are fighting for a championship. Surely you would consider trying to back them up a little bit and allowing the top two drivers to get that slight buffer for an undercut. But also, you create more of a problem for the drivers behind you. They're fighting for a title. You're in the bliss part here where you're just racing for a podium. You're looking to try and get the best possible result for you. So if you back the drivers up behind you and make them fight other drivers behind them, merge the packs together a little bit, save your ERS, and then start trying to pull out a gap on the in-lap and out-lap of your first stop. I feel like that would be the way I would want to go about it. I'd want them to be more stressed about what's happening around them and behind them than what I am of them behind me.
Yeah, that's a lot of sentence and words, but yeah, I kind of get what you're saying. It's very tricky to... I get backing up pack can work for you and against you, but I understand what he might want to do. But here comes Napadowski. Look how quickly he closes in DRS. Don't think he's close enough for a move into the heavy braking zone. Bit of a mistake there from Kryx, though. Looks like the rear end let out for him. And at the moment, it's still Nowicki from Napadowski. Or is it? Is Nowicki pulled into the pits? And it's an undercut attempt. Kryx has also pulled in. A few people deciding this is the lap of laps to make your move. So Napadowski and Sparky, if you good boys have some more pace in it, this is the opportunity to show it, because we've proven so many times this year, undercut is insanely powerful, and China undercut is insanely powerful. I remember Michael Schumacher getting in front of the Renaults in 2006
Yes.
because of that undercut.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous the undercut potential around this track, let alone in this game. This game, the overcuts are absolutely, a whole nother level, but my word. And we do have a little update on Dustin Vincent saying he doesn't know who spun him, but it's happened 4 times this season, so that gives a little insight into why Dustin's retired. And I believe it might have been Daniel Gottschalk.
It might have been Daniel, yeah, it might have been, but also we can't
don't hold us to
confirm
that
that.
one.
Yeah, that's citation needed on that one.
Yes.
And I think Sparky's just dropped out of DRS, which I think is proving at the moment Napatoski has the pace over Sparky on these hard tyres. Now, the question is, for me, of course, these are 2 leaders. Obviously, we have our 2 championship protagonists behind. These are the 2 guys battling for the lead of the Chinese Grand Prix. Who will pit first?
Surely both of them, no?
Surely they... well, I don't think either of them can afford to get undercut by each other, so they're going to have to just both dive into the pits at the same time and hope their pit crews can do a job. Let's see what happens here. Are we going to see them both dive in? No! Alvaro Fernandez carries on as Lundell decides to pit. That is a bit of a risk, and I assume that is Sparky. No, it's Napatoski. So, no, Napatoski carries on. Sparky's into the pits.
I mean, if there's a risk to make and there's a chance here, if he doesn't feel like he's got the pace on track today, you might as well try and risk it with the strategy. Fair enough. Very bold, very brave as Tom24 comes in the pit as well. So that'll let Nowicki really try and mount a challenge here. Let's have a little eyeball.
And he will come out ahead of both. Will come out ahead of Sparky, and Krike's also ahead of Sparky as well. Sparky comes out almost 3 seconds behind the man he was just behind before the pit stop phase.
Yeah, I mean, it goes to show the power of DRS around here, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's absolutely outrageous, but those drivers have done an absolutely worldy of an outlap to get there. Fingers crossed the tyres aren't absolutely shredded, as we see Oscar King with a very audacious move down the inside of the hairpin. Now, I knew a Red Bull driver once which decided to do those sort of moves. Yeah, didn't work out too well for him one of the times.
No, that's... Are you discussing Max Verstappen?
Maybe.
Okay. I thought you were talking about Daniel when he pulled that outrageous move on Bottas.
No, that was beautiful.
No, that was one of those... That's one of those moments. Oh, it's just Bottas. I guess I'll just put it down the inside and he'll let me through. But
this is one of those. Oh, it's Pepe. We've not seen anything of him so far.
No,
but
he's currently 5th.
He's holding on with these hard tyres, and he's in the Williams British GP livery. And surely he's not going to fight Lundell here, is he?
No, there's no need to really. Alvaro Fernandez is in. Napatoski carries on another lap here. I reckon Napatoski's going soft tyres, or he's hoping for a safety car.
Potentially, but with the way the drivers are moving out of the way, it doesn't look like they're causing too many issues for the lead pack here, as we saw there. But
he fastest lap of the race.
I mean, Alvaro's already dropped below.
Correct. Makes the move stick. Where is? Yeah, who's just pitted there? So Alvaro just ahead of Seb as well, but not by a lot. Not by a lot, which again proves the undercut potential. But I think Alvaro Fernandez has made a mistake there. I know he's got the fresher tyres, and again, we mentioned at the top of the broadcast that fresher tyres around this circuit is wildly important. But is it important enough to lose 1.5 seconds? And you've got to clear another car as well. That's just a gap to the car in front of you, not the cars that are like pulling away.
I mean, I feel like it is on the basis that you will be able to make that time back up by having the fresher compound compared to the other ones. So...
and Alvaro Fernandez picks up a 3-second time penalty if it couldn't get worse for him.
This is what I mean about his racecraft. It just falls off when he gets halfway through the race. Maybe he's unable to concentrate for too long, but he always starts out really, really strong, and then 1 or 2 mistakes start creeping in, and it's like a flood barrier opens.
Yeah.
I mean, that'll just come with experience, because a lot of these drivers are fairly young as well. But the more they race here in PSGL, the more experienced they'll be, and they'll climb the divisions, the rankings, all the way to potentially getting to Challengers or F1 Esports, as we see Sanga with a beautiful little move there on Oscar.
Napatosi's in.
Oh, uh-oh. Right.
Well, where's he going to come out? Is he going to come out behind Seb? That's the question. Seb, yes. I think it's going to be clear. Yeah. It's going to be absolutely clear. So Napatoski onto medium tyres, and Napadowski's going to lose not only those positions, but behind Sanga, Oscar King, and possibly even more. But no, I think he just stays in front of Daniko. But Daniko is right there in the background. Is that a huge mistake from Napadowski? He's got so much time to make up.
It could be a huge mistake, or it could be an absolutely worldy play. Personally, I feel like being on the fresher tyres towards the end is going to come in so helpful around here.
Could.
Obviously, we've only got the 10 laps remaining as well, so now it'll really be Napadowski's time to show that qualifying pace we saw him have at the start of the season, where he was almost gapping the field by 2 tenths every single qualifying session. So it'll be very interesting to see him. I think it was a saying they like to say, Alex, but I can't quite put my finger on it. It might be hammer time.
Is it hammer time?
It might just be hammer time.
Well, is it Napadowski time? That's the question.
I don't know. I don't know.
It might be. Let's see what he can do. He's got to get past quite a few fast cars in front of him. Oscar King on those hard tyres may not be a challenge, and neither will Mr. Pep, who is still running in P7 on a 17-lap old hard tyres. Here's the battle for second place, though, and Kriex decides that it's not time to make the overtake stick, but he might do it now because he might just put Nowicki under a bit of pressure, just seeing him in his rear mirror. Napadowski has already made one move past. He's up into 8th. He's ahead of Oscar King. He should easily get in front of Mr. Pep, who is still running. Well, I said that, but he's now just dived straight into the pit. And Kriex makes the move. He's up into 2nd place ahead of Nowicki. Alvaro Fernandez obviously in 4th with that 3-second time penalty. And I just wonder if you were Seb, you got to think with Fernandez with that 3-second time penalty, you got to try and pass him because he's just going to hold you up for the time being.
I will tell you something as well. As Dustin, the first retiree of his race, has very, very correctly pointed out, we've got a soft tyre compound user. Oski's decided to go with soft tyres.
They don't last very long. I do love them around the circuit. I remember driving softs around here a few times, and they are rapid. On a nice day when the track is rubbered in and grippy, these are the best tyres you can use, but they last about 5 laps.
If that. Something else which might only last 5 laps is Kriex' battle for second place, because so far he's got Nowicki, who's been on a devilish performance so far, as well as Fernandez as well, who was fighting for that lead before the undercut came to fruition. And yet, the soft tyres are soon going to be 3 laps old as well, as Dustin correctly points out in chat. They're fast, but not for long at all. That's the key. As Napadowski gets past Sanya,
yeah,
that's a battery DRS, I would say. That's not even a braking zone, I would say. So
no.
Do we dare swap over? Do we swap over to Sparky and have a look at his ERS?
Well, Sparky, I think we need to see what his ERS is running. 40% for Napadowski, 16% for Seb.
No, it's fine.
And
it's fine.
there's a battle going on here. There's some real close battling. Obviously, Nowicki, Kriex, Alvaro Fernandez, and Seb all within the move. Surely, Seb, you got to make the move stick here, son. You got to make it up the inside because you're going to be stuck behind this man otherwise. And it's do or die. Surely, got to think about a send up the inside there.
He does not need to. Yeah, I know you would. And that's the reason why you don't race an F6. Nowicki and Lundell, and Fernandez for that matter. Fernandez and Lundell have been leading this race by a 3-second cushion. Nowicki and Kriex were in the same pack that he was in. He knows all these guys have to do now is keep pace, don't fight too much, and he's going to be able to outscore Napadowski. They are very, very quick drivers. If he ends up pulling a move on Fernandez, it's just costing him time, it's costing Fernandez time, and Fernandez isn't the driver he's fighting. He's fighting Napadowski, Nowicki, and Kriex, right? That's the thought plan he's going to have. But I feel like it's only fair to mention here with Kriex as well. What a phenomenal race. Obviously, he won last weekend with some strange circumstances, but he's up here again in the top 3. He's really making a staple for himself. He said he wanted to come in and prove that he's an F6 driver, and he's doing just that. This is exactly what I mean. Nowicki's made a mistake. Alvaro's going to capitalise on it.
Not around the outside, surely. Oh, and he gets the switch back underneath. Or does he? He's trying to make the move stick. And Nowicki holding on for dear life. He's now out of DRS range of Kriex. We've got a yellow flag in the final sense. Yannick up the inside. Goes Alvaro Fernandez. Surely, Seb, you've got to slip your way up there, Susan. If you've got to make that move up into 4th.
It's turned to the outside, though. He's going to have to try and focus on getting a better line down to this hairpin. It's the best way to try and get it around the outside there. He's going to get more grip. and he's going to be able
Very
just
nice.
to show him out to the outside.
Oh.
But it also invites the little inside dive that we saw Danny Rick do a couple of years ago to Big VB77. But fortunately for Sparky, he was able just to sneak his way past. But you mentioned how there was a lot of fighting there. Napadovsky caught up by 1.5 seconds alone. From that
Already,
first sector.
he's closing.
This
This is why. Well, this is why Sev needs to make the positions. I know fighting will lose him time, but he needs to outscore Napadovsky today. He doesn't need to just beat him. He needs to outscore him by more points. And the more positions you gain, the more points you gain, as Will Buxton once wisely said. But yeah, Seb currently 4th. He's close to what could be a 2nd place. Currently, he's net P3 due to Alvaro Fernandez time penalty. 7 laps to go. Napadovsky is 1.9 seconds behind Nowicki and closing fast. This could turn into quite the battle at the end of the race. Lundell at the moment has checked out. He is out of this race and he is leading comfortably by 5.5 seconds. Mr. Puma is trying to make a move on Daniel. We have another spinner. It's the same spinner of Yannick, has made a mistake in the end of the first sector. And yeah, this battle for P3 is really This battle for P3 and P2 is really heating up as Alvaro tries to make a move on Krajix, who, as you said, has had an absolute stellar race. He's had an absolute stellar races all year, to be honest with you. He's just got unlucky on a few occasions. Last week, the luck really went in his way. But here we go. Alvaro Fernandez versus Krajix. He's about 1.3 seconds. Sorry, 1/10 behind. Sorry,
1.3?
1.3. My brain just completely turned off for a second.
That's all right.
But Alvaro Fernandez looking good. But as we said, all this battling, all this fight, Napadovsky is smelling blood and he's closing in on Nowicki, who is slowly dropping away from Seb as well. Nowicki, for Seb's race, you know, he's got to do a bit of Carlos Sainz here. Needs a bit of DRS Lando assistance here.
Either that or he's got to completely try and bounce on Nowicki, get rid of Nowicki and just hope Nowicki holds him up for him. You know, have a little bit of a tussle with Napadovsky, because at the minute, if it stays the way it is and Napadovsky gets that DRS, which I believe he may have just missed out on,
no, he's just got it.
Zone. Are we sure? Are we sure?
He's close.
How much do you want to bet? That doesn't
Nothing.
look like a rear wing open.
No,
Don't judge me on my detection points, Alex.
Oh,
I
but here
know
comes
this.
the Seb. Seb's making a move for 3rd. And Seb's on the inside. He's not only made the move for 3rd, he's made the move for 2nd. And he's up into 2nd place. He's made quite the dive bomb there. And he's up ahead of both Alvaro Fernandez and Krajix. He saw Napadovsky in his mirrors and turned into Prime Meriton Senna in one corner.
I mean, let's just wait and see how turn 1 goes for him before deciding to call him Prime and Senna. But it looks pretty good so far. I'm with you on this one. What an outrageous move.
He must have Krajix must have made a mistake on exit of the final corner, because there is no way that they allowed Seb to make not only 1 but 2 moves into the first corner. And we have a yellow flag in sector 1, but that is the retirement in the pits of Cerro, so that will not cause a safety car.
Uh-oh.
What?
Someone's come to spoil the party at the back of this pack.
Napadovsky, he's here, and he's hungry for some positions. Nowicki will hopefully be able to hold on, because otherwise Seb is going to get closed down quickly. But Seb is currently in the position he needs. 2nd would be quite a big point swing. How many points would he gain from 2nd place?
I believe it's 12 points for 2nd place, while Napadovsky would be getting 6.
6. Well,
So
he might be getting more in a second.
Might be going down to a 2-point championship finale. But that's all to play for, and I'll tell you what, Napadovsky doesn't look like he's down to play. He wants to race, and he wants to simulate what it's like being Max Verstappen.
He might have pushed Nowicki a bit wide there into the final corner. Nowicki might have some words to say to Napadovsky after that one. It looked like he was going to make a clean move out the inside, but just didn't leave Mr. Nowicki any room. And he's made his way up to P5. But do you think there's anything going there? A bit of friendly banter, or is that a slam dunk for Mr. Napadovsky?
I feel like that might be a strict telling off, let's say. But I'm really interested to see how Krajix defends up against Napadovsky here. Obviously, Krajix recently got put into F6. He got shot up the ladder a little bit, and they wanted to kind of eyeball and see where
from F8.
Yeah,
was it?
Yeah, wanted to eyeball and see where his talent actually lay, and he's been doing absolutely stellar work up here in F6. So I feel like a really fitting test would be Napadovsky on fresher tyres. Let's see what Kryzik can do, especially after he's probably just saw in his rear view mirror. No, we could get him sent to the beach in the gravel trap. Because I know that would intimidate me a little bit.
Well, 4 laps to go here. Lundell, 6.2 seconds clear out front. Napadovsky right on the back of Mr. Krajek, who, let's be honest, has done a brilliant job in this race. Currently still in a podium position due to Alvaro Fernandez's 3-second time penalty. We've got another yellow flag once again for Yannick, who just can't seem to get a grip of the Chinese circuit. But here we go. Are we going to see any moves into the heavy braking zone? Nope, he stays behind, but Napadovsky is not willing to stay behind. He goes for a little late move up the inside. Napadovsky, can he get the grip out of the corner? No! And he fails to pull in front, and he stays behind Krajek for P4. That seemed like a bit of a desperate move for Napadovsky, but look at the exit he's got. Krajek has made a huge mistake. Must have got caught on that exit curb. It's like riding a metal pipe on a skateboard track. You can't get any purchase on it, especially with how low these Formula 1 cars are.
I'll tell you what, we just had a little correction there. He came all the way from F9, not F8. Which just makes the jump even better, doesn't it? But with a little mistake there, Napadovsky's made his way through. And he'll be looking to really try and hunt down Alvaro Fernandez so he can have a little crack. As he goes very deep. I don't want to say anything there. He went a little deep. But he wants to try and have a little crack at Sparky on track. Because at the minute, he would still finish P3 ahead of Alvaro Fernandez due to that penalty. And it's such a shame.
Don't count Krajek out. Don't count Krajek out of this race yet. He is still very much in the hunt for a podium place if he can get past the man who's in front of him, Napadovsky. These guys are going through their graining phase at the moment. 10 laps on these medium tyres. They will be absolutely hurting, but Napadovsky will reach that stage probably by the end of the Grand Prix, and that could cost him big. I know you said that good tyres at the end of the race is going to be a help for Napadovsky. Could be a hinder. I know these cars are going to be lower on fuel by the end of the race, but they will still be hurting. And Napadovsky, will he make a move up the inside? Nope, he won't. He's too far back from the car in front, Alvaro Fernandez. I wonder now, I know you said he wants to have a little go at his championship rival, but for Napadovsky, is it all about now just securing those points and staying where you are?
You saw the way he was racing. He's not looking to secure any points whatsoever, Alex. What a silly question. He's looking to win. And the way he was doing that earlier was getting his elbows out, having a proper ding-dong battle.
I don't think he'll win.
Dare I say it was a bit of a, a slobber knocker. Is that the term you guys use?
Slobber knocker. Yeah, that's a pretty decent term. I like that. But yeah, I don't think he'll win this one. Lundell is officially out of the Chinese Grand Prix. Not out as in he's out of the race. He is. He's already out. He's already leaving China because he's pretty much won this race in his sleep this afternoon. He's had a great afternoon, Lundell, and
absolutely brilliant.
He'll thoroughly deserve this victory if he can come away with it. Of course, still 2 laps to go. Anything can happen in motorsport. We saw what happened last week. It was to the line last weekend where Krajek picked up their first victory here in F6, and it'll be Lundell's first victory in F6 if I'm not mistaken.
God, it's all happening towards the end here, isn't it? Asking for a little look at Sparky's ERS. I'll tell you what, we'll have a look at Napadovsky's. He's already on 50. We'll swap to Fernandez. He's on 70. He's got plenty to burn, and Sparky's sitting at 40. Well, Lundell's also sitting at 40 as well.
Well, see, that's interesting because Lundell's not really having to push here, but Napadovsky is pushing and pushing hard. Going to dump the battery. Going to try and make this move on Alvaro Fernandez. Alvaro Fernandez, how defensive will he be? He looked like he backed off there a bit, and he did back off. He is sticking behind Napadovsky. Napadovsky into the podium places. He already was third, but now he can have a little chance at his championship rival. We're on to the penultimate lap here at the penultimate round of PSGL. Napadovsky versus Seb has been the battle this season. Or Sparky, sorry, not Seb. Sorry, Sparky. Sparky Napadovsky. Who will come out on top? At the moment, Napadovsky has the fresher tyres. He has a bigger amount of ERS. He has the DRS. And he just needs to get in front of that championship rival. Because at the moment, all he needs to do is outscore him. But it's going to be tricky to pass him.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, this is what championships are decided by. It's by great battles like this. You go through the years, you think Max, Lewis, Seb, Lewis and Nico. And you can go as far back as you want, even to Seb and Jensen back in 2009. The battles on track really decide a lot of the things which happen it's not only a psychological factor, it's also just for straight numbers on the board. If Napadovsky's able to pull off an absolute worldie of a move here on the last lap or penultimate lap here, it could really affect Sparky's confidence going into the last race, regardless of if the championship is still on or not.
Well, Napadovsky might just get a chance here. There's no DRS assistance for the man in front. Sparky may just lose position here. He can't really do a lot to defend it. He pulls as far as possible. He cuts to the right-hand side and sticks within his slipstream, but he's still there or thereabouts. And once again, Napadovsky takes that second place, and he's got up into second. Lundell has started the final lap of the race. It's now all down to can Sparky keep up with Napadovsky. DRS will be Sparky's. Has Napadovsky made a bit of a mistake here, because DRS is now on Sparky and not on himself?
Yeah, I mean, potentially, but we saw the battery difference. Napadovsky's going to be using that battery coming out of this corner and all throughout the exits of the very fast sector of Sector 2, trying to get as best exit as possible. But only time we'll be able to tell. But I do feel like we do have to put the camera over to the main man here, Emil Lundell, because my word, he's had an absolutely fantastic race. He's been so far removed from everyone else. He's been a league of its own. He's been like watching Max, honestly. It was an absolutely fantastic race from Lundell. It'd be very, very interesting to see what he's got to say about the race and about the conditions here, especially considering a championship could be wrapped up if anything happens to Sparky here as well.
Yeah, 4/10 between Sparky and Napadovsky. Surely Sparky has to use all their battery, all of their skill, all of their talent. This is a chance to regain in front of the man. The fuel light is flashing on Sparky's car. We didn't think about fuel. Fuel is really precious around this circuit. Look how quickly that ERS went, but look at Napadovsky. He's got no ERS left. This is surely Sparky's chance. He's got to make the move now. He pulls to the inside. It's a late break for Napadovsky. It's a late break from Sparky. He's up the inside. Can he get the exit on the corner? He does, and he's up into second place. Lundell wins the Chinese Grand Prix. But it'll be... Oh, Sparky's gone wide! And he will still come across the line in second. And Napadovsky almost lost out to Kryax there on the line. And Napadovsky finishes in third. Kryax in fourth. Nowicki in fifth. Alvaro Fernandez in sixth. Sanger in seventh. Oscar King will finish in eighth. Followed by Daniel, and Puma will pick up a point in 10th place. Your last place finisher will be Danny Coe. I think he's just going for fastest lap. Pep does finish in 11th. Oh, sorry, Al Puma had more than 3 seconds. He's actually finished 12th, which means Oski gets a single point.
12 lap old soft tyres. That's not that bad at all, is it? I'll tell you about any day of the week.
Alvaro Fernandez retired from the session, apparently.
I'm fairly confident that's just a bug.
It's a few people retired from the session. Good old bugs here in Formula 1. But there you go, Lundell, thoroughly deserved victor. Kryax picks up driver of the day. Not surprised. Kryax did a fantastic job.
I'm going to have to give my driver of the day personally,
Lundell. I got to give it to Lundell as well.
I think such a dominant performance, and we're not used to seeing it. It'll be the same as if it was an F2, realistically, wouldn't it? But real F2, that is, as we could see him celebrating on the podium with both of the championship protagonists either side of him.
Yeah, I think you got to give us a shout out to Sparky as well. What a great race for Sparky. Really came back from a few people, but yeah, great race for him. Great overtake on the last lap as well. We have a fight going into the final race of the season.
That's exactly what every commentating duo wants. But do you know something else I want? I know. Yeah. Since I've moved into the new apartment, I've got a little naff chair. I'll show you guys real quick. I've got this little tiny naff chair. You can barely see it, but it's very naff and it hurts my back quite a lot. And Alex has got a gaming chair, which hurts his back quite a lot. He moans about it all the time whenever we do any racing.
Always.
But I know a chair which will not hurt anyone's back. It'll in fact comfort and support you, and also could be a very valuable part of your setup. It's a GT Omega chair. We got treated there. I'm very, very grateful that we're going to get treated to a championship finale, because my biggest fear would have been Napadovsky just walking away with this and leaving us in the dark a little bit, let's say. But hopefully we'll be able to have a little word from Sparky to find out how his race has gone, as well as Lundell and Napadovsky as well. You guys are more than welcome to come join, whether you want to or not. That's completely up to you. Would love to have you in here, but if you don't want to, that's more than fair. But
Yeah.
we know Sparky's not afraid and loves to come on and tell his story and his side of a race and what's going on. So, dare I say this is a wild Sparky?
Hello.
Hello, how you doing, my good friend?
I'm a bit exhausted after that last
I
lap.
don't blame you, mate. It looked very, very tense. I mean, firstly, what a strategy. You had people undercut you, and then you had people also try and overcut you, and you managed to make it work regardless. So, congratulations for that, but where did that one come from?
Funnily enough, Napadovsky was my teammate, unofficially. So he had the same garage, and I was directly behind him when I had to make the call if I want to pit or not. I think it was lap 15 where I pitted. I saw that some guys pitted, and I thought, okay, that could be a good time to pit. And I saw that he stayed out, so I thought, like, no, okay, I have to pit. Otherwise, I'm in big trouble.
Okay,
Oh.
opportunistic. I like
That might be why
Yeah.
Napadovsky stayed out for such a long time.
Yeah, I think it was actually a good call from him because he had very good tires
He
at
did,
the
yeah.
end, but it was just about track positioning. I was surprised that he overtook me a lap before.
Yeah, we kind of saw that as a little bit odd. The only other thing
Yeah.
we could really assume is that we had people in here asking for your ERS, so we showed everyone both drivers' ERSs to make it a little bit fairer. And
Yeah.
after that, he just seemed to relentlessly push. So perhaps he thought he would have just been able to use all his ERS and just disappear from you. But
But
thankfully,
he was quite close the lap before, so I thought maybe if he gets past me, and I think he thought the same, he could actually extend the gap a bit.
yeah,
So I might get in trouble from the guys behind. But I had a good lap. I had a good last lap. I hit all the apexes, and yeah, it was a good recovery because I got spun round in lap 1.
Yeah,
saw,
we were going to ask you about that. So well, obviously we were watching the opening lap. You didn't. Obviously you qualified. Was it P7, P8,
Six.
P6? So obviously you wanted to be ahead of Napadovsky, but that's not a bad start. Best of the rest and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what happened on lap 1? Did you who spun you round?
I don't know actually. I was actually quite content with qualifying because the practice was very limited. But yeah, Oscar King was on the inside, I think. Someone was in the middle, and I was on the outside. I don't know if you remember the Norris Sainz Kvyat crash from 2019.
Yes.
Yeah, I
do
was
remember
Norris.
that. Yeah.
I was Norris on the outside. I had nowhere to go, and I got tagged. I don't know. I think it was the guy in the middle, and the guy on the right was Oscar. But yeah, I was a passenger. I couldn't do anything. But yeah, DRS was very powerful, and people ahead of me kept killing themselves or each other.
yeah.
So I was able to move up, and then I was right behind Napadovsky again.
Yeah, no, I mean, you two were practically inseparable for this race.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
all ticks over to the final race of the season at Abu Dhabi. How do you feel about that track?
I like that track a bit more than China. Maybe I can do a bit more practice, especially in the race. But yeah, I hope Napadovsky is fine with what happened in the last lap. It was quite intense. They happened.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we saw Napadovsky's moves up a hairpin. You were very, very
Yeah,
tame in
you're not-
comparison.
Yeah, you're not the only one. Don't worry, mate. It's
Okay.
all good.
Yeah,
But
he fully put someone in the gravel, so I wouldn't
yeah,
worry
so
about it, mate.
I wouldn't worry about it. But so
Okay.
obviously,
Yeah, I'll put up. I'm hyped. I won a clean battle. I think he
Yeah.
has 8 points advantage, which is quite a lot. But I will try to focus on myself, try to win the race. But yeah, also GG's to Lundell. I mean,
he was-
we couldn't
Yeah.
we couldn't beat him today. And if he
mad,
puts on,
madness pace.
if he puts on something like this in Abu Dhabi as well, then that would be even more points that are not on the table.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will have to try to beat him.
So
Yeah.
It's
You know-
anything I can do. I can't manipulate Napadovsky's race. I just can do my
We
own
can.
job.
We'll do it.
we'll cast curse him.
Yeah, we'll cast a custom. Don't worry. So it'll be
Yeah.
fine. We've done it quite a few times already this season, so
Yeah.
it'll
mean,
probably happen again.
We literally did it to Sanga that race, so
Yeah, we did.
It was a wild one.
Also,
But the whole season was a wild one.
I will have to ask real quick, Sparky, before we move on to the traditional final question. How come the name changed? Because people kind of threw off.
Yeah.
My name?
Yeah, in game.
Yeah, your name wasn't Sparky for us.
I changed it 50 minutes before the race, and sometimes if you change it a couple of minutes before the race, then it doesn't update in the game.
Okay.
But
Okay.
on Napadovsky's screen I was Sparky, and on my screen I was Sparky as well. So I think it just didn't update. But yeah, good
that
info because I would change it next time a bit earlier. I did a team event. Earlier this week, and I raced under my real name.
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
that's fair enough, mate. Kind of threw us off. We thought he was shifting the gamer tag around to just go for real name,
Yeah.
proper esports style. But yeah, comes on to the final question. One moment, pick it out. Which one?
I think it has to be last lap. Staying calm, keeping within 3-4 tenths to be able to get him up straight, to not make any mistakes. One snap would have been all over. It was very tight at the end. It happened. If I would have been like 2 tenths more behind, it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
So I think it has to be last lap or the decision making in terms of pit stop. Big shame again for Dustin that he DNF'd. He was quite unlucky. He got spun round by Daniel Gottschalk, but he gave me some information.
Yeah. No,
working together again.
We saw him in the chat as well. He was giving call outs to us in the chat as well, trying to help us. I was like, go back to you too, mate. He's battling for a championship. Go over there. But no, he did fantastic, honestly. Very unfortunate what happened to him. But as well, you did fantastic. And you've kept the championship alive, which is what we can hope for. And fingers crossed. I suppose the next time we'll talk to you is going to be the Abu Dhabi interviews, regardless of where you finish having a championship interview. As I do believe now, you're safe in P2. Regardless of whatever happens, you'll always have that.
Yeah, that's nice to know. I mean, the whole season has been fun until this point, and I hope we can finish it in a good way, in a fair way. If I lose in a fair way, I'm okay with that. But I also want to win, so I tried my best to keep it fair. I haven't been reported once this entire season, so I think I will try to keep that up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Napadovsky is also very experienced, and I think he won't do any silly games. And I hope we hear each other next week. Thanks for commentating.
Yes. Thank you for coming along. Thank you for racing.
No worries.
And we'll catch you up next week. A potential F6 champion.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sparky. Thank you. Lovely bloke. I keep saying it. Lovely.
Lovely man.
Lovely. But obviously next week Abu Dhabi. Gonna have to get everyone back here for that one. And from what I've watched on this game around Abu Dhabi, it's very slipstream orientated. It's going to be very, very close, and there's also going to be a few penalties. So it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens there. But
yes,
Alex, mate, we're gonna have to wait until next week for it.
Guess so.
Blaming you. It's your fault.
Are we walking again?
Did you tell Connor we was in China for the race?
Well, I told him we were going to the race.
But does he know the race is in China?
Well, no. I just said we were going to the race.
Right, well...
I guess we'll go to the next race.
Yeah, well...
Which is Abu Dhabi.
We'll try and get there. No promises. It's just he walks really slow.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
I'm sorry. Walk quicker. Grow taller. But, until next time, thank you so much for watching us here at F6. I've been Josh. That's been Alex. And thank you, and we'll catch you around for next time. Bye!
Desperately trying to hang on. He's got the inside. Up here is through on the left-hand side. Hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the GOAT is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.